Green Pastures and Still Waters barn as part of our ministry, to help others, to give back to the community, to help younger kids and youth groups that don't have the resources to take horseback riding lessons. The whole month of May, we offered free horseback riding and lessons for youth, that couldn't afford this type of activity. So it was very successful for us, and we plan on continuing that through the years.
Do you think the chances of that situation would have been worse, or you would have been at a different stage when you found out if you hadn't got the checkup?
I'm going to answer that in two statements. One being, yes, I think it would have been a totally different ending. I probably would not be here today speaking with you if I would not have advocated for myself and went to UNC and VCU to get the additional work done. But two, my second and most powerful answer is, and I'll continue to repeat this, is that God had additional work for me to do. It was just not my time.
Hey, good morning, guys. This is your host, Bobby Davis here. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us this morning. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule to come and sit with us today. We're excited this morning to have Bob Brown in our studio this morning. Bob is actually the owner and operator of Green Pastures and Still Waters Barn. And Bob, hey man, I'm ready to hear more about this exciting business that you have, and I want to welcome you to the studio this morning, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Bobby. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning and your audience. So it's truly a pleasure.
Oh, nice, man. Nice. Listen, I had a chance to, and I think you and I had talked about this a while back. I can't wait till we get an opportunity to come visit you in person. I was mentioning to you last time you and I had talked that we got a state fair on the calendar for this year. And I know that your location there is in Raleigh, right? You're in Raleigh, right?
We're actually in Durham, but we're right on the Dade County line, so we're closer to the Briar Creek area.
Okay, got it. All right, so we're looking forward to coming through, man, and getting the chance to take some tours on the horses, man. So I'm excited about that. I wanted to kind of dive in, Bob. I know we got limited amount of time this morning. I'm really excited this morning for you to tell us more about your business and tell us more about your health journey. I would like for us to start, if you don't mind, just giving us a little bit of an overview of yourself, your background, and things of that nature. And we'll just dive right in, man, and get going this morning.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Bobby. Basically, I am from upstate New York, and I've been down here now for 32 years. I came down in 1994 after actually being resourced from IBM Corporation up there. I made a conscious decision with my family at that time to say, hey, I can no longer function or survive up here in this particular Hudson Valley area. So we made a decision to come to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. At that time, it was identified in the Forbes magazine as the best place to live for education, housing, children, raising a family, and things of that nature. So automatically we came right on down here. And at that time, once upon arrival, I was offered my job back with IBM. And today I currently am retired after 35 years with IBM. So God has blessed me immensely with that opportunity.
Nice.
As I transitioned here and worked through my time here, it was always been in my heart to get a horse stable and to give back to the community. I've loved horses ever since I was at the age of probably 5 years old. I'm basically in upstate New York. My dad would take us to a few of his colleagues' homes during the summer and the springtime to actually ride their horses or get a ride around. But as far as actually having my own horse, that never occurred because we were from the inner city there in upstate New York. And my dad had all he could do to raise 5 kids at that time. But I did have the opportunity to get more exposed to horses. We had an older gentleman there. Actually, he was the actual mentor for equineship in our area. His name was George Fitzgerald, and he's deceased today, but he had 23 horses in the small city that we're from, of Kingston, New York. And at that time, he used to rent those horses out, rent them out to the teenagers for 50 cents an hour. I mean, that's unheard of today. And we had one individual, his son George Jr. and Richard Van Dyke. They were teenagers at that time, and they used to come down to my grandmother's house on the weekend, come up to the porch with the horses, and I was just amazed. And they put me up on the front, and we'd ride up and down the streets. So I credit a lot of my love for horses to those two gentlemen, or those three gentlemen, and I've gone on to own my own farm here in Durham, North Carolina.
Wow.
That farm is Green Pastures and Stillwater's Barn. That comes from the scriptures, from Psalms 23:2, where David basically describes the Lord as our comforter, peace, the provider, rest, all those different things. And we truly have a property here that is comprised of all of those features.
Wow. Nice, man. Wow. That's an amazing journey that you were on. I mean, you went from IBM to, to doing what you're doing now. I mean, what a transition. Now, yes. your time at IBM, just to, kind of back up just a second or two, your time at IBM, what was it that you did there? Were you, more involved on the technology side? What was it that you did there?
When I first started at IBM, I started out straight out of high school, no degree, just a high school education. And, I basically started out in the electrical test lab. And, I worked there probably for about 4 or 5 years. I then transitioned into quality engineering and just moved my way up the ranks. And I finally got into a position where I was manager the new green data centers that IBM has implemented here in RTP and through the East Coast. And I actually managed several teams throughout the East Coast for the actual data centers for IBM.
Wow. Was that something that, I mean, you was in that business for a long time, but I can tell when I talk to you about the horses that, obviously this is a true passion for you. Is the technology, was that still something that or is it still something today that you enjoy being around?
Well, the technology has changed drastically over the years. And when I was transitioning out, probably 5-6 years ago, the technology moved very, very quickly from back when I first started in 1981. And I really have sort of lost a passion for the technology side of the house. So I don't really keep up with it as much. But my wife really helps me out on the technology side when I have to do technical aspects for my business and things of that nature. So right. Again, technology has changed, but for the better.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's always transitioning, man. And I mean, it's changing at lightning speeds right now. So what we learned last year almost become obsolete, in a couple of months. And, so you got to keep learning in order to stay abreast with it. But I want us to talk more about Green Pastures, right? Because I know you guys provide tours there, and obviously you have a stable of horses there. How many horses? Let me just ask you that. How many horses do you guys have there now?
We currently have 5 horses on 5 acres. Okay. Our horses are all Tennessee walkers, all papered, from very, very good backgrounds and bloodlines.
Okay. Now, what are some of the type of, like people that come to your facility there? They're just coming there for tours, or how do you guys actually, what is it that you actually do there? I mean, you provide the tours, but how do you reach your audience? And when they come there, is there a specific group of folks that you see come more, like for instance, kids, or is it just kind of like diverse in nature?
It's very diverse in nature, but I'm trying really to reach out to the community in general here. We use social media quite a bit, Instagram, Facebook, things of that nature. I have my own website, www.gprideandlessons.com. And that seems to get us a lot of business to this current date, as well as Google. Google, people tell me quite often that they search Google and my business comes up.
Yeah,
we have a 5-star rating, and people are so pleased with the outcome and the experiences that they have here. So that's bringing me quite a bit of business.
That's nice, man. That's awesome. So what is a typical tour in terms of like the time, the length? I mean, is it like an hour that or you can go longer than that? What exactly do you offer with the tour?
Well, typically we do a 1 hour experience, bring individuals in for what we call a lesson ride, and they get a 15-minute session in our arena area. And what they do is they learn how to actually groom the horse, clean their feet, clean their coats. They tack up the horse, which basically consists of putting a saddle pad on, a saddle, the reins, and that's pretty quick because you can only learn so much in within an hour. So we teach them those fine basics, and then we get them up on the horse. We get them mounted. I give them a basic example of what we're looking for and what to do, what not to do, how to become one with your horse. That horse has to learn to trust you as well as you need to learn to trust the horse. And a lot of people that come in are beginners. They've never been on a horse. They're afraid. And so we get them up there. We talk to them. We make them comfortable. And I start the training process, which is basically teaching them how to steer your horse right and left, how to back up your horse, how to do what we call a lateral flex. These are all basic exercises that will essentially save you from an incident when you're out on a trail or out on an excursion. So once we get going, we get them out on the excursion. I'm talking to them, especially kids. I'll say, who's your best friend? What's your teacher's name? And that takes them off. That takes their mind off of what they're actually doing. And before you know it, I drop the lead rope. They're riding along and just enjoying the ride. And that brings such joy to us when we see our customers relax and enjoy the ride and listen to the instruction.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I can't wait for us to get out that way, man, because I mentioned to you that the last time that I was on a horse was many, many years ago in the Bahamas. One of the things that I know my wife's going to probably be a little bit intimidated about getting on there because she didn't ride when we was in the Bahamas that time. She's like, man, I'm scared of the horse. I'm not going to get on that horse, right? So she didn't go out. But it's interesting how you deal with folks who may be first timers and may have some anxiety or fear built around, the whole experience. And I'm glad that you addressed that because I think some people would like to try it, but maybe in their mind, they probably haven't because, they got this preconceived notion, man, I'm kind of like a little, scared about getting on that horse, right? This big animal. So I love that you brought that up. Now, let me ask you this before we segue into this next piece. When it comes to the hours, are you doing these the hours and the times, are you doing them just doing, all year round? Or what do your hours look like in the time of year that you do these tours?
We typically start in the month of March. I try to open up on March 1st. And I usually go to the first or second week in December. And that's really based on the weather pattern. If it starts snowing in December, November, then I shut things down. And then I reopen back up in March 1st. In regards to the hours, summer hours, especially now with the heat index being up over 100 degrees, we try to open up and start our first lessons at 8 a.m. in the morning. And then usually by 11:30, 12 o'clock noon, I'm ready to shut down because I'm a true believer in not abusing my horses, making sure that they're comfortable, that they're not overworked, and making sure they're well taken care of. So I don't want to take advantage of that situation.
I got you, man. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So listen, Bob, we had talked a little bit about this, and I want us to, maybe kind of transition into this piece. I know that there was a very serious health situation that happened to you, and before you start talking to us about that, now, did this happen during the time you were still at IBM, or was it during the time you started the new business?
It started during the time that I was at IBM.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want us to maybe peel that back a little bit more because I know you have an incredible story, just a really encouraging testimony that we're even here now to speak and talk to you. So I'm going to just turn it over to you, man. I know you had a situation happen. Can you tell us more about it and kind of lead us along the path on that?
In short, basically, I was diagnosed in 2020 with kidney cancer, renal cell clear cell carcinoma. but it goes back a little ways. More importantly, I believe back in 2012, my dad was diagnosed with this cancer as well. Common denominator in everything was the right kidney. My dad was 85 years old. I believe he was first diagnosed. He probably got through his treatments and things of that nature that removed the kidney, and he probably was didn't make it probably past 2 years, but he was 85 years old. So he led a good life. At that time, following that process, my brother was diagnosed with it. My brother right under me, renal cell, clear cell carcinoma again, right kidney.
Wow.
He survived many years with it. I think he was diagnosed probably in 2017, 2018. And he went through dialysis, removal of the right kidney. Following that process, my younger brother, he was diagnosed with renal cell, clear cell carcinoma, right kidney. So, what we're seeing here is we're seeing something that's genetic pretty much. Never had it confirmed, but our doctors are basically saying that it appears that there's some genetic deficiencies in the males in your family. So to current date, I'm encouraging all the males, particularly in my family, to go out and have themselves tested and make sure that their kidney functionality is up and that it's functioning properly, because you don't want to wait until it's too late. Go to your doctor appointments, go to your exams, get your physicals every year. Stay on top of this. So going back, we go to 2019. My dad's deceased in 2012. 2019, my younger brother, Fred, he succumbed to this renal cell, clear cell carcinoma. That really broke my heart. He and I were very, very close together, close as brothers. We moved forward. 2023, my brother Charles, he basically succumbed to the renal cell, clear cell carcinoma. But the key thing in this, and we are Christians as a whole, generally speaking, June 2nd, 2023 is when I got the call at 6 a.m. in the morning that they had a kidney for me. So That was one thing that I was so pleased with, and more importantly, grateful to God that he has saved my life. However, at 2:00 that morning, we also got a call from upstate New York, and that call came through that my brother Charles had passed away from his cancer. So, the Lord, he took one home and took him out of his misery, and he saved me at that time. And he saved me, I believe, for a reason. I believe he has a greater work for me to do.
Yes.
So my wife and I, we basically look to this business, Green Pastures and Stillwater's Barn, as part of our ministry, to help others, to give back to the community, to help younger kids and youth groups that don't have the resources to take horseback riding lessons. The whole month of May, we offered free horseback riding and lessons for youth, that couldn't afford this type of activity. So it was very successful for us, and we plan on continuing that through the years.
Oh wow, man! This is as you're articulating this and sharing, which I really appreciate you diving deep into this experience. I can only imagine. I mean, because this was something that you saw kind of methodically, just went through your family. One of the things that you had said something about earlier, and I want us to kind of maybe talk a little bit about this, is making sure that we get to the doctor checkups and just, making sure you get in to check things out. One of the challenges that I know with a lot of males in particular is the awareness and understanding of how important it is to make sure you have your checkups done on a regular basis. Now, I'm not sure where we got this mindset from, but where we just don't go to the doctor unless we are sick. But what I've discovered is sometimes you can go to the doctor through your annual checkups, and they can help you to ward off potential dangers or situations that could end up being far greater down the road. What can you talk to us about the importance of the annual checkups and then get into to the doctor more on a regular basis? Because I don't know why we have that struggle, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and again, I would tend to agree with you. A lot of people they neglect going to the doctors out of maybe fear, out of maybe just not wanting to know the unknown. Hey, you have cancer. But if you do early detection and you go to your appointments, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to for the doctors to implement a solution to cure you or to get you healthy again. But if
Right.
you neglect that opportunity to go to the doctors, I mean, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And that's one of the things that one of my brothers went through when he lost his life due to this cancer is he failed to go to the doctors.
Wow.
And by the time they got to him, he was at stage 3, stage 4. And,
Really?
it was a really sad day for us. In the case of myself, when they found my cancer, I was at stage 1. But one of the most important things that I encourage people to do today is you have to advocate for yourself, because the doctors always, they do the best job they can. And,
Right.
and I happen to have a good team at UNC and VCU in Richmond, Virginia, that really took great care of me. But I had to advocate for myself, because I had one of my doctors that, I explained to him, I said, look, I lost my dad. I lost 2 brothers. I said, what's going through my mind? I'm next. That's the way the progression was going. And
Right.
I was internally just fighting in my mind that I was not going to succumb to this. So I was very hard on my doctor. I was like, look, you need to send me for a checkup. And, he kept indicating, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But guess what? I wasn't fine. I had the cancer as well.
Wow.
And I fought so hard mentally. I had hospital dementia. I literally lost my mind. And I'm going to be very honest. I was a different person for probably 3 years. My wife she is truly my wife, my partner, the love of my life. She took care of me for that whole 3.5 years. We were both retired. She took care of me. She took me to my appointments. I wasn't the nicest of people at that time, because I wasn't in my right mind, because I was mentally fighting to stay alive, mentally fighting. And little did I know that, hey, you're dying. You're literally dying. But the Lord had other things in mind for me. And he brought me through. The men from my church, my prayer teams, my ministry teams that I serve on, my frontline guys, they all came to my home every week. They prayed with me. Powerful. Prayer is so powerful.
Yeah.
They prayed with me. And, prayer is powerful. It works. And
Yes.
I just have to say, I thank God for saving my life, my life. And today, people look at me and say, you're not that same person. God has done a miracle in your life, and you need to tell your story. You need to tell your story, and he truly has. And I'm so grateful.
Oh man, Bob, this is awesome, man. And you're right. The power of prayer. And I'm just immersed in this story as you're kind of taking us through it, because there's so much in it. And one of the things you mentioned about advocating for yourself, how you had to take your health and your situation into your own hands, meaning you had to say, okay, look, I get what you're saying, Doc, but let me make sure I go check and get myself checked out. And I think that is so important that, we take that, responsibility and that initiative for our own health, because it is our responsibility. We have to advocate, and make sure we're doing everything humanly possible to have the best health we can. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I think sometimes we just say, okay, the doctor said, whatever, and doctors are doing the best they can. They do good jobs. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But what you shared right there, I think was really powerful, because you said, hey, I need to go make this happen. I need to go get this checkup. Now, if you hadn't got that checkup, do you think the chances of that situation would have been worse, or you would have been at a different stage when you found out, if you hadn't got the checkup?
I'm going to answer that in 2 statements. One being, yes, I think it would have been a totally different ending. I probably would not be here today speaking with you if I would not have advocated for myself and went to UNC and VCU to get the additional work done. But two, my second and most powerful answer is, and I'll continue to repeat this, is that God had additional work for me to do. It was just not my time. And
that's right.
It was going to work out for my good.
Yes, that's it, man. Oh gosh, bro, this is powerful, man. And you know, the amazing thing is to hear you tell the story. And I think is amazing also to understand, which I don't think anybody could really understand what you was going through at that time. But the fact that you had this history that you knew existed, you know, and you knew that this was, you know, something that was going on in your family, and you were still able with God's help. And and the fact is, you're right. I think we have to, you know, we could say, you know, a lot of different things about this, but only thing I could come to the conclusion on is what you just highlighted and what you've been highlighting. That God has a purpose and plan still in store for you. Yes. And that irregardless, even though you had your responsibility to make sure you did your part, God was going to bring you to this place to where you would still be here today sharing this story.
Yes.
Now, as we transition out of this, you got the kidney, you're back, you know, you was dealing with this for like 3 years or so, right? So now you got the kidney and you're starting to get back on track. How do you live your life now that you know unequivocally that God spared you? I mean, that he really intervened in this situation for you to be here. How do you live your life now?
Well,
from a perspective.
First and foremost, you know, I acknowledge God. Individuals say to me, you know, God saved your life. And I say, yes, absolutely he did. And you know, you can read scripture, you can go to church, you can do all the things that are reflection of a relationship with God. But I have that vertical relationship with him. And unless you're in those shoes where death is at your doorstep and you actually experience it, it's truly a supernatural type situation. I mean, he literally saved my life. I look back at it today and I tell my story. At first, I was a little holding back from telling my story. But, you know, I ran into so many people and situations where people were experiencing cancer. And I told my story and I said, you know, you have to have faith. I said, God is a loving God and he has a purpose for you. I said, and that really encouraged people. People needed to hear that story. And that just made me feel much, much better about myself and my situation. And even this opportunity today to get onto your podcast and to tell my story, this is heartwarming for me. It's just overwhelming. And I love the Lord. I just can't put it any other way. I love.
No, man, that's it, brother. You've done a great job in just expressing that. And I think that really is the theme for our discussion today. And more importantly, I believe that, you know, through this experience, you know, that others who may be dealing with similar situations, they would see the power, not only of prayer, but they would see, you know, just the divine intervention in which God intervened in your situation. And that too would be something that they could look forward to or look to. And so I'm encouraged by it, man, because it's, you know, I could look at this and say, man, a lot of people would have just gave up because they would have said, man, this is just my destiny. It's happened to so many people in the family already, you know, and they just would have thrown in the towel. And so I'm just amazed at how God works and how he worked in your situation, because these were some daunting odds that existed that was right in front of your face because you saw the history.
Yes.
And I'm just amazed, man. I really don't know how to put it any other way except to, you know, just to give God praise for what he's done in your life, because you're here today. As a matter of fact, this is interesting. I found out about you from a friend of mine who said, Bobby, you got to have this guy on your podcast. He's a great friend of mine, great guy. You got to get him on your podcast so he can tell a story. Now, you and I obviously didn't know each other. And now I'm seeing how God is working, right? So he spared your life. You had this encounter, and now I meet you. You're on the show. You're telling your story. You have already encouraged me because some of us may not be facing health problems or health challenges, but we're facing challenges and they may be daunting. And you just don't know how it's going to work out, right?
Yes.
But the encouragement comes from what you talked about was the power of prayer and how God had a plan and purpose for you.
Yes.
And that he was going to bring you to that place of destiny. And it's amazing how we're sitting here talking about that now. You've impacted me. We share the podcast. You're going to impact other people. And now they get to know about God. This is going to go into areas where people may have never, they may not know about God, but they may be dealing with a health issue and listen to this and your story and be encouraged by it. It's incredible, man. I'm floored by it, to be honest with you, at how he works.
Yes. Very,
you know,
I mean, a lot of times I reflect very, very strongly on the scripture that says faith without works is dead. And,
right.
My works is, I don't go around, preaching scripture to people every time I see them or things of that nature. But just by my overall, not my appearance, but just my demeanor when I speak to people, people can see the Holy Spirit in me, God in me. And people, when they even come to my barn for lesson rides and things, they say, you're different. You're different. There's something calm. There's something peaceful about you. And I'm like, really? But that's the Holy Spirit in me. That's the God in me. I have that vertical reflection, that vertical relationship with God. But I also have a Pastor Nate Davis and Tequila Davis out of Noun Church. We're out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and they are my shepherds, for my family and I. I love my church family. Things that I do, I serve, on a weekly basis there at my church. I even go back to my dialysis clinic because that was my family for 4 years. I go back and I visit them. A lot of people, you're either going to pass away when you're in dialysis or you're going to survive. And I go back periodically and I visit them, and some we've lost and some are still there. And they know my story, but I go back. How you feeling today? How you doing? My wife, she's a baker. She bakes cupcakes and things for them to take back to them. Yeah. Because I'm truly vested in them. They were my family, and I love each and every one of them.
Wow. And so in some ways, this has turned into a ministry
absolutely.
That you're operating through your business and just through connections and folks that right? You're ministering. Yes. And does this, this experience, Bob, has it changed the dynamics of time and your reality of not wasting time, but being intentional on how you live?
Yes, it has. I mean, I'm 66 years old, and my days, I feel good about who I am, my health, and I count every day as a blessing that God allows me to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, to go up to those stables and to clean stalls and to push 1,000-pound bales of hay around and take care of the horses. And I just love life, He has given me a second chance, and I am not wasting 1 minute of that time.
Wow, that's incredible, man. So you getting your exercise and all that stuff in, just working.
Yes, I am. And I used to go to the gym. I used to go to the gym on a regular basis, but going to the gym and then coming back and working at the barn here, my wife said, it's draining you. It's draining you. You got to do one or the other. So I focus now on my exercise at the barn here. And it's sufficient. Yeah.
No, I was getting ready to say, you probably get a better workout. I mean, if you slinging them big bales of hay and all that stuff, man, you getting a full body workout from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's good. So actually, you're still maintaining, or you still active in trying to make sure you're taking care of your health and exercising. Was there anything that you changed differently in your diet, or What does that look like? Has that changed at all?
Yes, my diet, I have changed that to a degree. I was an individual that never really would drink water. And water is so important for the functionality of the body, the kidneys, to flush your system out, to cleanse your system. And now today, I drink water constantly. My granddaughter's bought me this Yeti, and I fill that up 3-4 times a day. When I first came out of surgery, they wanted me to drink, like four of those Yetis, those large pitchers of water, 4 a day, just to get my body back on track. And I
Wow.
keep that up today. I drink my water regularly. I try not to eat a whole lot of processed food, McDonald's, Burger King.
Right.
I
Right.
kind of stay away from that. And,
Right.
I'm just more conscious. I eat a lot of salads. So,
Yeah.
I'm very focused on my health. When you get a second chance in life, you get a second chance, you appreciate that more. You appreciate
You're right.
that so much.
You're right. You value your health, especially when you went through something like that. You really truly value your health, and you don't want to put yourself back in a bad situation. And so it's just amazing, man. So can you tell us a little bit more about the ministry that you're doing at church? I mean, is that something you're doing full time, or just, you serving part time, or what do you do there?
It's kind of like a part-time thing. We have a frontline team. We call ourselves the front line, and we're basically the ushers. We set up our chairs for the congregation on a Friday evening. We break them down after service. We're in the sanctuary. Our first interest is making sure people are seated, making sure people are comfortable, as also as keeping an eye on our pastor, making sure he's safe and protected.
Yeah.
So we identified ourselves as the front line. Our frontline guys, we go out, we pray for individuals. We also have our separate prayer team, but like for me, my frontline team, they came here, they prayed for me every weekend. They came here, and I was so grateful for that. So we're sort of the eyes and ears of our sanctuary, of our congregation.
Yeah. You know what, the thing that you brought up, I think is so vital for people to notice how important a local church is. See, when you were going through what you were going through, you wasn't going through it necessarily by yourself. You had people there that was actually showing up at the house, and they were praying for you, and they were with you to a degree in this journey that you were on at the time. And I think that sometimes what has happened for a lot of folks is, they pray and they feel like they can be this long ranger Christian, and you don't really need to be connected to a local assembly, but that's not the case. It's not even biblical either. So it's vital. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm glad you said they actually came to the house, because I think that it's so important that you have a connection to a local church, so that you never know when you're going to need them. But more importantly, it gives you an opportunity for you to be able to serve and be connected and be a part of what they're doing. And even now, as you got through this, you're still giving back, you're still connected, you're still serving, and you're doing it not only at church, but you're now doing it in the community, and you are evangelizing, so to speak, even outside of the church, which is the way it should be. We're supposed to learn, go there and get trained and equipped, and then take the message back out to the streets. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're doing that now on the podcast. You do it at your farm, and you're touching people everywhere you go with your story. And it all does one thing, which is the most important thing. It brings glory to God and awareness
Yes.
of his goodness and his power. And I think if we can do that in the areas of life, I think we have accomplished something great, man. So I'm just floored, like I said, with your experience. And before we actually get ready to close out, Bob, if you could do me a favor, if there's a couple of things, maybe a couple of points that you want to highlight and leave with our audience, perhaps words of encouragement, just whatever you feel that's on your heart that you'd like to leave them with, I'll give you an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thank you so much. One, first and foremost, in regards to my health and individual health out there, I encourage men, women, families, be proactive. Go to your yearly exams, get your mammograms, get your physicals every year. Stay in tune with your doctors. Keep that relationship open. And then secondly, be proactive, as I indicated, but you have to advocate for yourself. Just don't take your doctor's word. If you're uncomfortable with that, go get a second opinion. You have to advocate for yourself. And that's so, so important. And lastly,
yes.
And more importantly is, this business of mine, my health, all these different things, this is not something that I planned for, back years ago. Oh, I want a horse stable and I'm going to save and save and save. But one of the things that I did and I continue to do today is I ask God in my daily prayer, order my steps, bring people into our path that will help us and that will lead us along the way to glorify your name and to highlight and bring our purpose forward. And he brings people into our life, individuals that have helped us along the way. One in particular that I want to shout out to is Dr. Latita Mason. She's a equestrian. She's got a lot of experience, and she just came to my doorstep one day. And today, her and I, we have a very close relationship with my wife and I. And she comes here, she helps out with the rides and lessons, and she's just awesome. She's an awesome individual, and we thank God for her. So order my steps. He's done all of that, and every day, I don't know what the next day is going to bring, but we want for nothing. He's a provider. He is truly a provider, and we want for nothing. And each day is a blessing for us. And we give back. We give back to our church. We give back to the community. And we're going to continue to move forward with this and bless people in any way that we can. So I thank you for this opportunity.
No, that's good stuff, man. That is so good. Well, Bob, I certainly appreciate it, man. And if you can give us the name of the business again and how they can reach you online.
Okay.
Just before we close out.
Our business is Green Pastures and Still Waters Barn, LLC. We can be reached. My website is www.gpride, N, the letter N, lessons with an S.com. And our email is gprideandlessons@gmail.com.
Fantastic. Well, listen, my friend, I certainly appreciate you, man, taking time today to really bless us. I'm blessed. I feel that you have really, I know our audience is going to be encouraged by this, but I know I got encouraged today. And I'm really just grateful for the opportunity that God has allowed us to get connected, so to speak. And so I'm privileged in that way, man. So I thank God for you. And I just wanted to again just encourage our audience to reach out to you. They got questions. Go to the website. Just make sure you check this guy out, man. He's good. He's good people. So Bob, thanks again, man. And folks, that's all we have today. I appreciate you guys joining us. And until next week, you guys have a good rest of the day. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you.